light it up. This is the Blunts and Sports Podcast. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Also, comment your favorite upset this week. We're going to go over everything sports. All the things that happened in college football Saturday. Go over some of the NFL games that happened on Sunday. And everything sports that happened over this weekend. Whatever you're doing right now, make sure you like and comment. Comment your favorite upset this week. Was it Michigan? Was it Michigan versus Illinois? Was it Alabama versus Tennessee? Or was it Georgia versus Texas? We're going to cover everything. Let's start off with the NCAA. Let's start off with college football. Saturday, there were a lot of upsets. There were 3 upsets in college football. But the takeaway of the day the takeaway of the day was Texas, number 1 Texas, losing to Georgia 30-15. Georgia just looked way better. They outplayed Texas. I told you guys in the last episode, Texas quarterback, he's just not the guy. He's just not the guy. He ended up getting benched in the second half, and they end up bringing Archie Manning out and letting them get some runs in. But by that time that they brought the young bull out, it was over with. That Georgia defense just overpowered them, and they weren't able to come back. They tried to have a comeback effort in that game, and it didn't work out. It didn't work out. So, also, Miami and Louisville, that was a close game, 52-45. Miami sneaked off in the end with that one. They end up fighting a close game to Louisville. Clemson and Virginia. Clemson was a good game. They end up beating Virginia 48-31. Clemson is the number 10 team in the nation, so they handle business yesterday. Indiana, man. Indiana is on a roll, man. Shout out to the Indiana Hoosiers. They're the number 16 team in the nation. They are 7-0. They beat Nebraska down like a baby who hasn't been listening. They beat Nebraska 56-7. They move on to 7-0. The quarterback for Indiana, he had 189 yards. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 17 for 21. They also brought Tavion Jackson out there to get some runs in. He was 7 for 8 with 91 yards. Justin Ellison, he went crazy. He had 9 carries for 105 yards. His longest was 43. On the receiving side, the longest rush was Omar Cooper Jr. He had one reception for 36 yards. And Elijah Surratt, he had 3 receptions for 65 yards, 1 touchdown. His longest was 28 yards. So Indiana, they're moving that ball up the field. They're getting it going. They're getting it moving, and they're not playing, man. They're meaning business out there on the field, man. Auburn versus Missouri was a close game. The score was 17-21. Score was 17-21. East Carolina versus Army. East Carolina versus Army. His final score was 28-45. Army ended up taking that game in a long shot. I'm sorry, somebody's walking around here. Alabama and Tennessee. Alabama just couldn't hold on. Tennessee, it was a rough environment out there down in Tennessee. That was just really tough. It was a really tough game. It was a thriller. Tennessee ended up getting the win, though, 17-24. Let's look at some stats here. Jalen Milroe, 25 for 45, 239 yards. He really, 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown. The quarterback for Tennessee, he had Nico Iamaleava, 14-27, 194 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So the Tennessee Volunteers, they move on, and they are the 11th team in the nation. They end up beating Alabama. Notre Dame end up giving it to Georgia Tech. The number 12 team in the nation stumps Georgia Tech 31-13. Georgia Tech didn't have a chance once Notre Dame started going. Now let's talk about Little Brother versus Illinois. This was probably one of the most entertaining upsets for me. To see Illinois just go out there and straight derail Little Brother, man, it's just crazy, man. I was like, man, I was just watching the game. I was just laughing and just enjoying the time in the defeat of the University of Michigan. It was just an awesome thing to see. Illinois end up going out there with an attitude of I'm going to win. And they end up doing everything right on all cylinders. Quarterback for Michigan, Jack Tuttle, he had 20 for 32. He was 20 for 32 with 208 yards. No touchdowns. He ended up having 1 pick. The only person that scored for Michigan was Khalil Mullings. He had 19 yards. He had 19 carries for 87 yards, and he had 1 touchdown. Illinois, on the other hand, Luke Aldermer, he was 9 for 18 with 80 yards. He had 1 touchdown. Their passing was good. Pat Bryant, he had 4 receptions for 32 yards. His longest was 12 yards. They end up moving the ball pretty well. Aiden Lagari, he had 9 carries for 54 yards. His longest was 29 yards. Tanner Arkin, he ended up getting out there 1 carry for 36 yards. His longest was 36. That was his longest carry. So Michigan was Illinois was running the ball. They were playing defense. They were doing everything they could to open it up against Michigan, and they end up getting it done there. So Navy ended up playing Charlotte. They end up routing them 51-17. Texas A&M played Mississippi State. They end up getting them 34-24. LSU routed Arkansas. LSU, number 8 team in the nation, they beat Arkansas 34-10. UCF and Iowa State played. Iowa State beat them in a close game, 35-38. Kansas State and West Virginia, they went back. They really didn't go back and forth, but Kansas State won that game 45-18. Kansas State is the number 17 team in the nation. Now let's talk a little bit about Georgia and Texas. Georgia ended up beating Texas 30-15. I'm sorry. Georgia just looked really better out there. They were playing really well defensively and moving the ball well on offense. Carson Beck, he was 23 for 41, 175 yards. Did throw 3 picks. Trevor Etienne, he had 19 carries for 87 yards, his longest, and 3 touchdowns. His longest was 18. Oscar Delp, he had 2 receptions for 45 yards. His longest was 43. Arian Smith, he had six receptions for 32 yards. His longest was 21. So they were just moving the ball on Texas, doing what they can, doing whatever they wanted to, and just really having their way as the number 5 team gets the number 1 team in the win on Saturday. SMU beat it, routed Stanford, smoked them like a Newport at the convenience store. This final score was 40-10. SMU is the number 21 team in the nation. Now, the top 4 teams of this week after everything, number 1 is Oregon, number 2 is Georgia, number 3 is PSU, Penn State University, and number 4 is Ohio State University. Number 5 underneath that is Texas. Number 6 is Miami. Number 7 is Tennessee. Number 8, LSU. If you want to go see it online, you could Google that too as well. But, as far as the standings, OSU, we haven't played this week, so we have to really blow out the team that we play this week. We can't show any mercy to anybody that's upcoming opponents for us. So we'll see how it goes. This is the rankings for this week. Remember, 12 teams get in. If Indiana keeps playing, they're the number 13 team in the nation. I can actually see them getting in the playoffs if they keep going like they're going on the pace they're going on. I have no doubt in my mind that the committee will have to pick them for their college playoff, and that will be big for the state of Indiana. That will be big for the Hoosiers. I think that will be their first time in the playoff. So this will be big for them. Let's talk a little bit about the NFL, and a little bit we'll go over. I think there were preseason little basketball, so let's check on that too as well. And hopefully the blunt ain't out yet. We'll keep going. Sunday, the Jags played the Patriots. Jags end up beating the Patriots 32-16. Titans and the Bills end up going at it. The Bills end up getting that one 34-10. The Packers and the Titans went at it in a close one, 24-22. The Giants end up smoking the Eagles like a backwood, 28-3. Giants over the Giants. Philadelphia and looking good over there this week, getting the ball up and down the field on New York, just moving it well and getting back to where they're supposed to be. Seahawks and the Falcons went at it. Seahawks took that one 34-14. Bengals and the Broncos, we know that's a good game, rival game. Cincinnati and Cleveland coming together, going at it. It was a close game, 21-14. The Bengals took it. Colts and the Dolphins. Woo! The Indianapolis Colts end up getting it in a close one, coming back against Miami. Anthony Richardson looked a little rough out there in the start coming out. He ended up getting it together, though. But, yeah, man, 129 yards out there, 10 for 24. The Colts did really well on both sides of the ball eventually later on in the game. Tyler Huntley for the Dolphins, 7 for 13, 87 yards, 1 touchdown. The Dolphins really couldn't get it going later in the quarter, so the Colts ended up coming up, making some things happen, and eventually got that win. The Commanders end up beating the Panthers 40-7. The Rams end up taking their game against the Raiders 15-20. And the Chiefs end up putting it on the 49ers. Patrick Mahomes out there going crazy, breaking defenders, shaking them like loose booty. just making people look bad out there. He had 154 yards, 2 interceptions, but he ended up going 16 for 27. He ended up doing what he had to do and to pull out that win for that team. Let's talk a little bit about the New York Jets. They played the Pittsburgh Steelers in Russell Wilson's debut game back. He had 264 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was sacked 1 time. He was 16 for 29. Aaron Rodgers, he was just terrible out there. He had 276 yards, 2 interceptions. He was sacked 1 time. My guy, Davante Adams, he had three receptions for 30 yards. He did not get a touchdown. His longest was 11 yards. Breece Hall, he had 6 receptions for 103 yards. His longest was 57. The New York Jets, they just couldn't get it going. The Steelers defense was really good, and I don't know what it's going to take for Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets just to click, man, and just to get it going. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what it's going to take. I know that they have a lot of work to do. You got to get an offensive line, got to get a lot of things over there. And it was just not acquiring Davante Adams that was going to make them better. They have a lot to do, and hopefully they can figure it out. There were no basketball updates, so this is the end of the episode. So make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. We also have the Pacers game coming up Wednesday. Woo woo! Pacers play Wednesday against Detroit. Make sure you follow us for all those updates, and make sure you stay tuned for all the games coming up this week. And like and comment your best upset this week that happened. Let us know your favorite team, any updates that you get live, put them in the comments, and follow us. Follow us. And we appreciate y'all. And we'll see y'all in the next episode.